University of Idaho is studying the effect of breast milk on COVID, and it is encouraging.
And a Montana man was arrested in Pullman after a chase on foot. Murrow News 8 starts now.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Good afternoon, I'm Alan Lester.
And I'm Jake Knight. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
Today begins the day 4 of the Senate impeachment trial for former President Donald Trump. Despite the arguments already made by the prosecuting side and the defense team, most Senate Republicans have indicated that they will vote to account Trump on the House charge of incitement of insurrection. They argue that the trial is unconstitutional and Trump didn't incite supporters to lay siege on the U.S. Capitol on January 6 when he told them to fight like hell against the certification of President Joe Biden's victory. If Republicans hold the line, Democrats will fall well short of the 2/3 of the Senate needed for conviction.
A wave of asylum seekers from Mexico are headed to the states. According to AP News, President Biden and his administration are allowing 25,000 asylum seekers into the United States while they await their immigration court cases to proceed. This is the first step Biden is taking in an attempt to dismantle former President Trump's migrant protection protocols, which has kept about 70,000 asylum seekers in Mexico.
According to the Associated Press, more than 9,000 recovering coronavirus patients in the New York State were released from hospitals and in nursing homes. The new number of 9,056 patients is 40% higher than what the state health department released, which is raising questions on if the Governor Andrew Cuomo's administration helped spread the virus among residents.
Unlike much of the state, Spokane teachers may be heading back to the classroom whether or not they have the vaccine. Schools reopening has been largely left to individual school districts and their teacher unions. Right now, that doesn't appear to be an obstacle for Spokane, as Superintendent Adam Swinyard told the school board while teachers and staff should have access to the vaccine, it won't be the sole reason for students to return to the classroom.
There are 11 active COVID cases at WSU as well as 10 new cases in Latah County. WSU has 6 active student cases and 5 active employee cases with a positivity rate of 0.6%. According to Pullman Radio, there are 10 new cases of COVID in Latah County. There has been a total of 2,459 confirmed cases since the start of the pandemic.
A medical center in Moscow has seen the positivity rate of COVID testing drop to 3.5%. Gritman Medical Center received 31 positive COVID cases this week, which was a decrease from last week's 5.2% reported positivity rate. There has only been one hospitalization reported at Gritman at the time of the weekly report. A WSU researcher is going to help an underserved and over-affected population. Murrow News 8 reporter Zach Anders spoke with the professor, who now has $2.3 million for her work.
For roughly 3 weeks last summer, over 40% of all COVID positives in Spokane came from only one ethnic group, despite their population totaling less than 1% of everyone who lives in the city.
We're thinking about a community that is disenfranchised economically, politically.
The Spokane Health District confirms by July, over 300 Marshallese and Pacific Islanders had tested positive. Yet in total, fewer than 3,000 live in Spokane. This caught the attention of WSU researcher Kaimi Sinclair.
Washington has the 3rd largest population of Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders after Hawaii and California. This grant gives us the ability to work with the communities to do what we call participatory surveillance.
Sinclair's funding, recently secured from the NIH, will provide for a team of researchers to work with trusted community members to track infections from within.
The sooner that you can detect an outbreak in an area, the sooner that you can address that.
While this research will focus on COVID, the end goal is to find the best methods to prevent the spread of any disease for all Pacific Islanders.
We are planning to recruit 800 Marshallese. This gives us an opportunity to find out what works best for this community, who also suffer other kinds of infectious diseases.
This research is considered a small step in the right direction, but as the executive director of the Pacific Islander Community Association of Washington will tell you, having a healthcare system that reflects and represents the population it serves is equally important.
We have a saying in the Pacific tradition that says which translates as the starfish heals itself, and it's an inherent sort of proverb that has always informed us that our healing is within our own peoples.
For Murrow News 8, I'm Zach Anders.
According to a new study from the University of Idaho, the breast milk of an infected mother has neutralizing antibodies, which are antibodies that kill the virus. This phenomenon is specific to COVID-19. U of I professor Michelle McGuire, who helped lead the study, says this information is crucial to the global community as mothers feed their babies every day. Other diseases like HIV and Ebola are transmitted through breastfeeding. If you haven't noticed yet, WSU crew and construction is digging into the ground and sewer. Murrow News 8 reporter Natalie Newcomb talks to construction and asks why the crew are digging deep into the ground.
Outside in Northside residential halls, a crew is opening up a manhole. Why? It's part of WSU's new way to screen for COVID-19 in the 11 residential halls. Right underneath this manhole, a stream of wastewater is coming straight out of the dorm. The crew uses a long pole that has a cup attached on the end to scoop up the water. The water is then transferred into a bottle that goes to the lab for testing. WSU is screening 11 of the occupied residential halls. Local elementary schools that have reopened are using the same method. Douglas Call, a Regents Professor of Molecular Epidemiology at WSU, says this form of screening is very efficient.
In theory, if we catch it right, we will determine if somebody is shedding virus into the stool through the sewage. And it's just a very efficient way. And it's also very non-invasive. I don't have to get permission to take bother somebody, I should say, to get a nasal swab.
Those wastewater samples come here to the Allen School of Global Health. This is where they prepare the sample to be tested by separating the possible COVID-19 virus from the rest of the wastewater. The samples are put into special tubes and they go into a centrifuge. The machine spins the samples for 4 hours, making the virus stick to the sides of the test tube. Then they drain the wastewater while keeping the virus in the tube. That's when the samples are finally ready to be sent to the Washington Animal Disease Diagnostic Laboratory for COVID-19 testing. If a sample comes back positive, they narrow down the positive case by notifying those living in that residential hall and asking them to get tested. It's important to remember that even if a positive case comes back, that doesn't mean that the water coming from the sinks and showers are positive. It is perfectly safe to use. I'm Natalie Newcomb with Murrow News 8.
Thank you for the report, Natalie. The Pullman Police Department catch wanted Montana man in a foot pursuit. According to the Daily Evergreen, Flathead County in Montana contacted Pullman PD about Taylor Silva being in Pullman. Silva had a warrant for his arrest for the assault of a child. After Silva jumped out of a house's back window on Upper Drive in Pullman, the pursuit ended when he surrendered at Providence Court apartment complex.
February 14th through 15th, all 14 branches of the Whitman County Library will be closed for President's Day. In anticipation, the due dates for library materials have been extended. Late fines will be charged for these days. The drop boxes will remain open at all locations for the returned items.
A Valentine's Day in a pandemic definitely won't be the same as before, but how does one safely date in this socially distanced world? Last night, during a video talk, WSU Health and Wellness provided tips and ideas for safe virtual dating. They include FaceTiming on a walk, using a Chromecast plugin to watch Netflix at the same time together, and above all else, setting ground rules for safety before ever meeting in person.
According to the Daily Evergreen, WSU Department of Sociology has decided not to recruit students for their master's and doctoral programs for fall of 2021. The department usually admits 10 students to their program. Lisa Gloss says that students were notified so they would not pay the application fee. The Department of Sociology is the only one who has announced their fall 2021 admissions halt.
The Pullman School District is preparing to teach young students sexual health education. Starting in 2022, Pullman Public Schools will begin to teach kindergarten through 3rd grade students about social and emotional learning. 4th and 5th graders will be taught about affirming consent. The Pullman School District is hoping to meet in person with small groups of these students 2 to 3 times a week to maintain safe learning.
Oregon State University is recognizing WSU Directors of New Student Programs Kelly Alvarado Young with the Adult and Higher Education Emerging Leader Alumni Award. She is known for her efforts to support underserved populations, works to get the Spanish translation services for Spanish-speaking students and parents. Alvarado Young is currently working on virtual live orientation sessions over the summer and a hybrid week of welcome for the in-person fall semester. Alvarado Young says the award is a humbling honor. With students closing in on the year in online learning, what adjustments have they made to ensure continued success? This time a year ago, online learning was something that most college students joked about or never gave a second thought to. Campus grounds were still bustling with activities and classrooms were full of minds ready to be molded for the future. Now, students across America approach 1 year into forced online education due to a global pandemic once naively thought would be over in mere weeks, if not months. And although a tiny percentage of students have been given the luxury of in-person education, the majority are still stuck to their computers. For college students like myself, this setup beside me has been a common sight as well as an unfortunate foundation of educational learning for the last year. Given the great privilege that I was bestowed to go back to in-person learning, it has been a weird transition as well as more anxiety-laced than I once imagined. With that in mind, I wanted to talk to students who had been in online learning since day one of the pandemic to figure out how they've adapted over the course of online learning, as well as their thoughts about returning to campus. Zachary Murrow is a junior in the Murrow College at Washington State University and has been one of the thousands of WSU students who have been forced to continue their education solely through online learning. Murrow says that the adaptation over the last year has been a slow transition, but has learned that focusing was the biggest adaptation of all.
I guess you have to pay attention in class a lot more, because when you're at home, it's a lot easier to just start tuning out the professor.
Murrow also acknowledged the idea that while heading back to in-person classes excites him, he knows the year away will affect students for how to appropriately act in a classroom setting with new school norms and the lifestyle that's been accustomed.
It's gonna be super weird going back. I'm probably not the only one who's not gonna be ready for it and forget what's socially acceptable. Sitting in a class, how much do I have to really be paying attention? Do I make eye contact with the professor? All those things that you don't really think about that you just kind of adapt to in the college setting. I'm gonna have to relearn all of those things, and getting to class on time is gonna be a fun one to relearn.
With WSU announcing that it plans to have fall semester 2021 in person, many students who share the same feelings as Murrow will be forced to adapt once again to a changing educational environment. Luckily for them, it shouldn't take long to get reacclimated to normal times. Is it safe to be on the road as snow blankets Washington State?
Don't touch that dial. Murrow News 8 will be right back.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Days, months.
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
Years.
I'd like to give you this.
A lifetime. Can rush by without realizing what we're missing. We lose some of the best moments, some that may never repeat.
Come on.
Or detach from people around us. Our loved ones grow used to this pattern. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. It's never too late to live a full life again. Hear how many of us Vietnam veterans have managed our mental health and reconnected with our families. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
We've gotten quite a bit of snow here in Pullman, and we can expect more here across the state. For what you should expect this weekend, we toss it over to Pamela with the weather.
So this morning we started off with some heavy snowfall here in Pullman. We can expect a high of 18 and a low of 12, which will cross over into tomorrow, with a high of 22 and some more snowfall. As we continue into the weekend, it's a 3-day weekend, so expected travels to the west side. So we are going to take a look at the pass. The roads are looking a bit icy and covered in compact snow, so you should expect to take extra snacks and drive extra careful. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map. In Seattle and Olympia, they are expecting snow with lows of 26 and 25. They are under winter weather advisory, so if you're out there, be careful. In Tri-Cities and Yakima, they are expecting snowfall as well as lows of 19. In Spokane, there's a low of 11, but they are expecting sunshine, so if you want to make your way out there, you can. And in Pullman, snow. 5-day weather forecast, we can expect snow for all 5 days with lower temperatures, but they're not here to stick around. We are moving into a warmer weather front as the week continues. That's it for the weather, guys. Back.
WSU Athletics will try to turn a strong Thursday into wins this evening.
And what is next for the Olympics as Japan's Olympic Committee president resigns? Murrow News 8 will be right back.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
The Cougs bounced back last night to beat the UCLA Bruins 81-73. Guard Isaac Bonton led the Cougs in scoring with 26 points, and guard Ryan Rapp led the team in rebounds and assists. This brings the Cougs' record to 12-8 overall and 5-8 in Pac-12 play. WSU women's volleyball took down the Colorado Buffaloes 3-1 last night. Freshman Juliana Dalton was the player of the match, leading the Cougs' offensive attack with 13 total kills. The Cougs are now 5-2 for the season, and they will face the Buffaloes again tomorrow at 11 a.m. in Bowler Gym. This weekend, the WSU women's basketball team make their final regular season road trip. They face number 10 Arizona in Tucson today, and Sunday face Arizona State in Tempe. The Cougs will be looking to sweep the season series against Arizona after their 71-69 overtime win in January. Freshman Charlize Walker comes into the game leading the Pac-12 in scoring with 303 points. WSU women's soccer is set to host Eastern Washington today at 7 p.m. at Lower Field. The number 19 Cougs are coming into the game after a 2-1 win over the Seattle Redhawks, and they're looking to improve to 2-0 for the season. Senior forward Elise Bennett scored one and assisted another in the game against Seattle and will look to continue her run. Tacoma resident and Seattle Supersonics superfan Chris Brandon died last night. His sister confirmed in a tweet. To many fans, he was known as the Sonic Guy and was a fixture at sporting events and council meetings, pushing the city to build an arena for the Sonics. President of the Tokyo Olympics Organization Committee, Yoshiro Mori, resigned today after sexist remarks he made last week. Mori's departure comes after a week of non-stop criticism about his remarks, in which he said women talk too much in meetings.
This National Day helps middle schoolers nationwide learn to be more kind and accepting.
We are on Bourbon Street, but you can safely collect your beads in downtown Pullman when Murrow News 8 returns.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
An initiative to bring students together. National No One Eats Alone Day, put on by nonprofit Beyond Differences, has middle school students in lunchrooms across the nation, including their peers. The goal is to have every student in every lunchroom in America to have a friend to eat with.
A Mardi Gras event through downtown Pullman offers activities for students and locals to explore and support small businesses, as well as have some fun.
We absolutely fell in love with Pullman and the unique vibe that it has.
Local business owners like Pups and Cups CJ Robert have been dealing with the lack of younger customers and slower business.
Realistically, yeah, we kind of have a dead downtown. You know, there's not a whole lot to draw students off of campus.
This gave Summer Hill Rentals owner Jandy Utzman the idea to meet with other small business owners about hosting events that might bring more students through the doors. Utzman organized the Pullman Downtown Promotions Group to give the town something to talk about.
You know, help our foot traffic downtown, make it a more fun place for college students, you know, to look back fondly of their memories of WSU. And also I had 4 kids that grew up here, and so, you know, I heard it's a little boring a time or two, and so I'm trying to, you know, help change that for that age group as well.
Utzman and the PDP group are hosting a Mardi Gras event until the 16th, and being involved is easy. Pick up your Mardi Gras beads from Sam Dial Jewelers, where you can also find a list of deals for all the local businesses. Wear these beads when going to the shops and restaurants and receive doubloons with your purchases. Collect the most and drop them off at Pups and Cups before the 17th to win one of 4 prizes.
After you've enjoyed all that the Mardi Gras and the Palouse has to offer, come here to the Pine Street Plaza and take your beads off and throw them in the tree and decorate it like they would in New Orleans.
Prizes, food, and even a small parade on Friday evening should give plenty of excitement for bored WSU students this weekend. For Murrow News 8, I'm Zygmunt Soroka.
The beads and coins distributed during this event are not meant to change hands. Dropping off and trading your items is where they will end to prevent extra contact.
Phase 2 comes as a relief to Zeppo's owner, Craig Peterson. The bowling alley will be open at 25% capacity with 2 people per lane. Although many Pullman residents know of the alley, not everyone knows it was named after a dog. According to the Daily Evergreen, at the original meetings in 2000, Zeppo the dog attended the meetings and drew enough attention to have the alley named after him.
One Pullman woman is offering home-cooked meals to young cougars. In a post to a WSU Parents Facebook group, Christy Sablaya offered other parents a chance to purchase $20 baskets with plates ranging from stews to baked chicken and lasagna. Sablaya then hand delivers to the students on campus, allowing the parents to buy their student a home-cooked meal remotely.
Love is in the air and online. Check out the Cougar Valentines.
Days, months,
Hey, I'm Jim from across the street.
years,
I'd like to give you this.
a lifetime can rush by without realizing what we're missing. But it doesn't have to be that way. We have a choice to take action. Visit maketheconnection.net to find out more.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and WSU wants to know what you're doing for the yearly celebration of love. For Valentine's Day, Facebook fans of WSU Pullman were asked to submit photos and stories of their WSU loves, and there were some great ones. On the screen now is some of the wonderful pictures that have already been submitted, so don't miss your chance to contribute to the personal tales of romance, love, crazy connections, and more. Check them out on the WSU Facebook Pullman page. Well, Jake, I don't know about you, but all I know is my Valentine's Day is going to be a date with me, myself, and I.
I'm right there with you, man. Hey, we got to stick together as single folk, you know? A lot of ice cream eating and Netflix watching by our lonesomes. But hey, you got to love yourself sometimes.
Hey, man, don't go. Hey, sometimes too. Those chocolates will be on sale the next day.
Exactly.
So.
That's the mindset.
Thank you for watching. If you missed anything in any of our news, anything in this or any of our other previous newscasts, you can always watch us on our YouTube channel.
More news can be found at nwpb.org/mn8, and you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a great 3-day weekend.